welcome to another edition of the NBA Slate Starter podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down Thursday's three-game NBA DFS slate. That is 3, and that is 10 less than what we had to deal with here on this Wednesday. We're coming to you guys between the 8 p.m. Eastern time and 10 p.m. Eastern time slot. I thought we'd get this in before we start making some late slate lineups, some showdown lineups for everything in the evening. So we have no idea how this slate is really going other than we need Chris Boucher to add more fantasy points to his total. Ryan, how you doing today?
Yeah, it became Chris Boucher night, real fast, real quick, and it's one of my favorite nights, especially on a 13-game slate. Give me all the Chris Boucher, and he came in sub 30% over there on FanDuel, and then he came in around 40% over there on DraftKings. I really like the a lot of things were going for him, a lot of good coach praise for Chris Boucher. He was kind of in the doghouse, in the Nick Nurse doghouse, but hey, it's a 13-game slate. A lot of other things need to go right. AO is putting up a Booyah type of performance with a less than 5.
Flying F. Oh, you're so good. There's so many weird pieces of ownership. Yeah, AO, the no-no. That would probably be more equipped. Man, you're something else. I love it. This Brooklyn ownership is out of control. Out of control. I mean, I love James Harden as much as the other person today. 59.5% in the $15 in DK. It's outrageous, right?
Yes and no, but I think a lot of things were going to indicate for James Harden for him to just have an eruption type of performance. And he's well on his way there. I think he had 13 fantasy points in about 4 minutes. So maybe he rostered himself in his own DraftKings and FanDuel lineups and Yahoo lineups. So that's going for James Harden. Plus, I like the fact he's no Kevin Durant there. There's a good way for him to put up a 40-point triple-double. I just thought that could happen. Sure, looking at it, if you knew he was 60% on and with a ton of other massive, amazing MVP-esque studs on the slate, would I have less? Yes, probably.
That's what I'm getting at. We got Evan Mobley, 10%, double that. Thank you, Greg Ehrenberg, on the NBA Live Before Lock show. We talked about him. I was already high on Evan Mobley. On FanDuel especially, you're going to probably need that individual. Gary Trent at sub 1%. You're going to have some of these guys fall through the cracks. Like, there's going to be guys it's pretty impossible to account for. Darius Garland's up to 30 fantasy points. I mean, Cleveland is just walloping Chicago right now, up by 16 early in the third quarter here. So that's just kind of getting going here. But Jokic with a nice little 23 fantasy points in like 6 minutes, 8 minutes of that game. It's going to be a very eventful, crazy evening here, but as I said, just give me all the Chris Boucher. Nicholas Claxton, almost 30% on DK here as well. FanDuel, a little bit lower. And I mean, come on, 3,500. I had to have liked him over there. We talked about him here on this podcast. But anything else you want to react on before we get to this 3-gamer, which we should cruise through tonight?
Yeah, it's a 13-game slate. There is lots and lots of news pending. And on a 3-game slate, looking forward to tomorrow, we got a Lakers slate on a Thursday. Paired with a Memphis and Denver team playing as well on the slate tomorrow. So it'll be a fun little slate to look forward to. A lot of teams will be on back-to-back, so keep that in mind.
Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Definitely give us that thumbs up there. If you're watching us on YouTube, which we always appreciate seeing those, and give us those 5-star reviews. If you're listening to us over at the Awesemo Podcast Network or over at our new feed for the NBA Slate Starter, give us that 5-star review. Give us the comment, anything that you want to put in there. Yay, we really think Ryan and his vest are super cute tonight. Oh, Eric and his blue eyes with that beard. I tell you what. No, maybe something like that. I don't really care. You can put whatever you want there in that comment section that's semi-nice, and we will appreciate that. And we're going to start doing giveaways. I keep saying that we're less than 8 days into having our own podcast feed. We're just trying to build that base and really appreciate you all for listening. Appreciate you guys taking the time to give us those reviews. Goes a long way for us. That's all I want for Christmas is to have over 500 subs on that thing. So fire it up for us. Give us some love, and we will see you on the podcast network. But of course, we got a 3-gamer that we're going to get to. You ready to get going, my friend?
Let's ride.
I'm so self-aware, so self-conscious. You have broken me when it comes to saying my dude. I just can't do it anymore. It's like part of what I've done my entire life. I'm 34 years old and dude is dead to me. Here we go. LeBron James. Hey, he's 10-1 up there on the top end. Russell Westbrook as well, 9,900. Dejante Murray coming off of a disappointing game. Derek White has really started to play well here for the San Antonio team. In that loss, though, Dejante Murray, he's the guy who's got to mainly be this catalyst now. They're coming off of 2 losses back-to-back, Phoenix and New York. Playing Denver, tough spot here at home, but still, Dejante Murray, 9,700. We know the kind of ceiling he's had this entire season. Donovan Mitchell, 8,800. Has been banged up to 6,900. It's just like ridiculous to look at. But talk to me about the top end of guard.
Yeah, I mean, we got LeBron and Russ. Both were pretty darn solid. The whole big three were pretty good in a game against the Celtics.
It's absurd, right? I mean, you got to expect eventually that that's not going to be the case. Is that just like an outlier game, or do you think they can really just be the three guys who do everything for this team?
I want to say yesterday was the best game they've all played together all season long. And there was a stretch in the third quarter where Russ should be playing the way Russ should be playing. He was aggressive, but also deferring at the same time. He had the ultimate balance where Russ is the ultimate seesaw basketball player. And I think the Lakers looked very, very strong last night. I know they're playing a Celtics team without Jaylen Brown, but I know it's a one-game sample size. It was good to see them play well. I root for stars to play well, and especially in a Lakers team. The whole NBA is more entertaining when the Lakers are good. But LeBron James 10-1 against the Memphis team. I'm about it. He is questionable, as is he is on most days. But if he, for some reason, is out, Russell Westbrook, I think we can go to him for sure. But LeBron James has been very strong the last couple of games out. I like going to Dejante Murray over Russell Westbrook just because of Russ is playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Dejante Murray is playing with the likes of potentially who is going to play Keldon Johnson's backup minutes. I believe it's Doug McDermott. So just a massive difference on teammates where Dejante Murray is the lead dog more nights than not. So at $9,700, he might be low on, but has a pretty solid upside as he is by far one of the most improved players in the league this year. Just going down the list a little bit, I mean, it's guys who have guard eligibility. Donovan Mitchell on a back-to-back against Philly at $8,800. It's a 3-game slate. Can you be the highest scoring player on the slate? Yes, definitely. And those things like that are important to keep in mind of when you go from a 13 to 3-game slate, your whole strategy and how you approach the slate really changes. Ownership is very concentrated. A guy like him is probably not going to be very popular. And if you just pivot off, leaving some salary on the table from going down to Murray to Mitchell in a lineup, you're already leaving, obviously you're sacrificing point projection, but you're gaining in so much uniqueness and leverage and just being able to have an upside of winning alone. And I think little things like that can add up over time in your lineup and can pan out for you. You don't need to do it in all your spots, just one or two, and your lineup's already a little different. Just going down the list of guys who I think we should be considering. The Philly situation, the guard situation, Tyrese Maxey returned today, so it's going to be interesting. Just going down, I think, taking your chances on guys like the Memphis backcourt and Tyus Jones, maybe a Bones Highland. All these guys stand out to me. What do you think about going to a guard Lonnie Walker with probably no Keldon Johnson tomorrow?
Yeah, so we just saw I was super low on Lonnie Walker, mainly because on a 3-gamer the other night, which was Monday? Was that Monday? No, it was Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, and obviously we're talking about Thursday slate. But yesterday, Tuesday, I didn't really like Lonnie Walker because it felt like a piece of value that everybody was going to play. Now, I wish I had played some Bryn Forbes, 17.25 there at 3,400. I don't know if he's necessarily going to play enough minutes to be super viable there, but 3,700, I think he's still going to garner some attention. I don't expect 16 minutes out of him. I would still say he's a guy I expect to play around 20, but I think the cat's out of the bag where I liked Doug McDermott a lot the other night. I'm going to like Doug McDermott again here, but the problem is I think everybody else is going to like him too. So now I'm hoping Devin Vassell comes in and just makes it crazy, but he's doubtful to play, so it doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing. We're going to try to find some sort of value here. Primo's been in the rotation out of the middle of nowhere here recently. He played 12, 18, and 15 minutes the last 3. That's definitely coming out of Lonnie Walker's allotment. I just don't know really if he's going to be a piece I really want to rely on, but I thought he was way too chalky. If he ends up being like 10, 12% tomorrow, which again, I think he'll still be higher owned than that, just knowing how people react to stuff, but bad game. He just burned everybody. If he's low owned, I'll definitely be over on that.
Yeah, I think you bring up solid points there. And a guy who I forgot to touch on is Derek White, $6,300 price tag over there on DraftKings. Has been playing much, much better over the last week. And I think a lot of baked-in projection models haven't accounted for how well or how aggressive he is being of late. So I think Derek White, I'd be willing to take advantage of at that $6,300 price tag, priced more favorably than FanDuel.
Agreed. I think that that's the right way of looking at it. Let's jump over to FanDuel here. Again, we're going to fly through this slate. I think we got Dejante Murray 9,800, then Russ 9,600. So different little pricing than what you're seeing on DK, where it's the inverse. Donovan Mitchell 8,400 that we see there. Desmond Bain 6,400. Derek White there all the way up to 7,900. I can't imagine he's going to get much attention there. I mean, again, he's back to playing his 34 minutes here, 34 and 36 minutes now in two of his last three. He's back in this road. He was out there for a hot second, but he's back and playing a boatload of minutes. It's hard not to like him here in this spot. But I don't know about at that number. Definitely more of an appealing play at 6,300 over on DK. But if he's going to be insanely low owned, I mean, Derek White's proven to have 40 plus there. He might be a guy on FanDuel even to look at if he's going to be super low owned. Talk to me about the top end of point guard there.
Yeah, and I don't even think you need 40 plus on a 3-game slate at that price tag. I mean, with MPE, I think things can definitely work out in the mid to even low to like high 30s. So obviously, you would love 40 plus, and he's really taking you to the top with that lineup if that's happening. If you nail everything else, but just going down the list, I mean, Russ and Dejante Murray are spend up options. Russ definitely gets more penalized for turnovers here on FanDuel. Dejante Murray $9,800. I still like that price tag. He is the man there, and I think a lot of the field is like doesn't realize the new situation there. They're slowly but surely getting there, and the sites obviously were aggressive with his pricing, so that's why he's always like coming in pretty low on a nightly basis or when a slate slate basis. Tyus Jones, $5,800. I think I'm willing to ride that price tag till he gets to 7K. I think he's shown the capability of being very solid fantasy wise. D'Anthony Melton, a guy who racks up steals. He's an exceptional 3-game slate tournament play. Foul trouble can happen in the Memphis backcourt. He can lock some extra minutes. He can be brought on for his defense. D'Anthony Melton, someone we should be looking at tournaments. Keep an eye out the Conley situation. Utah on a back-to-back. Yeah, Conley is 6,500 for 6th man of the year. Jordan Clarkson, only 5K. There is a non-zero chance that Mike Conley is going to be resting on a back-to-back, or even Donovan Mitchell rests on a back-to-back, or even both. And that should insert Jordan Clarkson into a lead dog role. And when Jordan Clarkson a lead dog role at 5K, you're going to like a lot of lead dogs at 5K. So Jordan Clarkson would become one of the best players on the slate.
Agreed. I think it's a very high probability. We've got Utah and Philly on a back-to-back. We've got Memphis that's going to be on a back-to-back. We've got Denver on a back-to-back. So 4 of the 6 teams in play on back-to-backs. I'm definitely going to be looking at somebody getting ruled out, some value that we can't really anticipate here, but we're here to talk strategy and we're here to talk some of our favorite plays based on the pricing. And, I even think Mike Conley there at 6,500 would be a decent play, a lot better play than he would have been on like a slate like today against Minnesota, but now facing Philadelphia here. Mike Conley, I would expect somebody there to be sitting, I would think. I really like Jordan Clarkson. I think that's a great call there. Also, who the hell is David Duke Jr.?
David Duke Jr. He's the guy who played in the summer league. David Duke Jr. is someone that I don't know why you're looking at right now.
Oh, because he just came into the game and I've never heard of him before, and I cover the NBA for a living. Yeah. Never heard of his name in my life.
David Duke Jr. plays for the Nets. Yeah.
How many minutes has he played this season? I'm just tilting anybody who comes into the game that is not one of my players that I have rostered from Brooklyn, like Bembry or I don't know, Claxton, who just got a rebound. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about DDJ entering the rotation. Maybe he's not good enough to deserve that nickname yet.
No available information. He has not played a single second of this entire season.
Really? Interesting. I didn't know that. I thought he might have gotten some playoff.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking game log. I clicked on ESPN. No available information. Advanced stats. No available information. I'm assuming that means he hasn't played a minute. So I don't feel bad for not knowing who that is. It just was in the corner of my screen. I saw him go on the floor and I was like, I don't know who that is. And it's a Duke Jr. Who's Duke Jr.? Whatever. Nobody cares. We're going to continue on here. We're going to round this out with our sponsor, Yahoo. Top of the guard position over there. Sounds exactly like what we've talked about here on the other two, but Dejante Murray, $43, your most expensive guy. Russell Westbrook, $40. You're getting a nice discount there. Donovan Mitchell, if you get no Mike Conley, that becomes very intriguing there, $34 as well. Tyrese Maxey, a little expensive for my taste, $27. Will Barton, $25. Derek White, $23, really stands out. Bain, $21, really stands out. You talked about Melton being a tournament play. Well, Tyus Jones there at $17. That's way too cheap as well. A lot of options here at point guard. Help me wade through a little bit of over here on Yahoo.
Yeah, Yahoo point guard guys have guard eligibility, point guard, shooting guard. There's a lot of good options that we can be going to. So a lot of I like being in the mid tier tomorrow. The way things seem like I like Tyus Jones a lot at $17. Lonnie Walker at $10. I think both of those guys for the Spurs. No Keldon Johnson. That's definitely a big. There's minutes can definitely be spread his way. Keep that in mind. If you want to bounce around to Amani Morris, as a guy who has shown to get 30 plus fantasy points. If Amani Morris is playing 30 plus fantasy points at his respective salary across all the sites, I think he's a great play if he can pull that off in that situation. Will Barton always can crack 40 fantasy points the way he can play the game. So Will Barton's another option to consider. It's definitely a place where I'm willing to spend down a little bit. I think the studs are priced appropriately. And it's not like I'm sacrificing that much on a 3-game slate. Yes, it's a Dejante Murray and Russell Westbrook. And can they put up 50 plus? Oh, definitely. I just feel like there's a way for a lot of those mid-tier guys that I rattle off to potentially get 30 to 40 points. And I think in those type of range of outcomes, things can definitely work out for you on a site like Yahoo in the guard position.
You know what else can work out for everybody, Ryan? Boom! New Yahoo users, look at this. Get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Sorry, I don't know why my voice went so high. Get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum with your first time deposit. So deposit $10 or more. That's step 1. Step 2 is you get your free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum after you play in any paid contest of 25 cents, $1, $10. Play in the $20, that $1 million contest, 200K of overlay for NFL on Sundays. There's no better contest for NFL DFS than that one. And jump in and play. They are putting so many ridiculous contests out there with low management fees for NBA and NFL. There's no reason that you don't want to be overplaying on Yahoo. And now you'll also get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. What? You got to take advantage of that offer right now. No way around it. It's the best that exists. Every single sport we offer behind the paywall. Projections, premium Discord chat, where you're able to go and talk with guys who are legitimately around the clock in there, chatting about NBA, chatting about NFL, chatting about rotations and fantasy outcomes and tilting their lineups. And I'm telling you, there's no better time than now. Go check out everything there is over at Yahoo. But more importantly, get that free month by depositing there. Thank you so much to their sponsorship. But legitimately, I'm not even just advocating for them. It's just flat out they are the absolute best. Also, Nicholas Batum is in tonight. That is a disaster. I do not like that. That makes me very sad. Okay, let's move it on. Game time decision still for PG-13.
James Harden has gone backwards since I was raving about how he could be an exceptional play today. So go figure.
I have 45% and I'm 15% under the field. So am I cheering for a guy at 45% that I have? Maybe I want him to bust. I don't really know.
Yeah, I have no idea. I think I split my ownership at 50. I want 50, and if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, hopefully there's a couple that in the other 50 that works out. But
Luka Joker. Terrence Mann will start
ahead
of
no
Luke
love
Kennard.
For Giannis? Damn, why are you giving the Greek freak some hate?
What'd I do? What? I didn't.
You said Luka Joker. You didn't mention Giannis.
Well, Giannis sucks right now. He's got like 10 fantasy points in the first half against Miami.
Oh,
oops. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day. Oh, yeah, no, don't worry. I'm triple the field over on FanDuel. Just going to be sad and pathetic, but not sad and pathetic. Yahoo. That's why you need to play over there because I have zero exposure to him over there. All right, forward position. LeBron James, 10-1 there. Anthony Davis, 10K. Tobias Harris, 7,600. I do expect somebody from Philly. I don't know if it's Tobias Harris. I don't know if it's Joel Embiid. They just basically spent 3 days in Charlotte. That's probably not the best place to spend 3 days if you're an NBA player. I don't know. I love Charlotte, but I doubt that they are that enthralled about it. But heading back home for them, going to Philly, I don't know. Something just tells me somebody might sit there. We'll see. Jaren Jackson Jr., 7K. Always. You know what you're getting into with him. If he keeps his hands to himself, that'd be great. Will Barton was questionable with an illness coming into tonight's game, and he ended up being fine. So he ended up playing 6,800. We'll see if he ends up sitting there. But Dylan Brooks, 6,200. I bet that tag gets a lot of attention. He had a terrible first quarter. 2 points. Nothing else. 2 points for a guy who has crazy usage available to him. I was low on him today. I know Greg Ehrenberg was high on him. I'm high on him for this slate. It's a 3-gamer where you get a 6,200 Dylan Brooks. Hard not to like it. Talk to me about forward position.
Yeah, the forward position, it's got LeBron and AD. I love Anthony Davis. I also have some interest in LeBron James. I prefer AD to LeBron James at $100. Sure, might not do much on a 3-game slate, but you can mix and match those guys they're kind of coming out as even plays right now. I do think it'll be an ownership decision to see what it looks like. Anthony Davis is always low owned. I think people have the bias of him getting hurt and leaving early, which does happen. But when he does have those eruption games, he's taking those lineups to the top. Anthony Davis eruption games are one of a kind. Going down the list here, Tobias Harris, I think at 7,600. I think with no Ben Simmons, I think at some point he will be north of $8,000 on DraftKings. He just needs to be the 1B to the 1A in Joel Embiid. Jaren Jackson Jr., if he gets in a massive foul trouble today, he'll be low owned tomorrow. If he erupts tonight, he's going to be decently owned tomorrow. So depending on what happens in recency bias, because recency bias is so prevalent, not as much as it used to be, with people making more and more data-informed decisions, Jaren Jackson Jr. will be a tournament play as he always is every night. Aaron Gordon against the Spurs, $6,100. He's a guy that I've been waiting on to be more consistent. Like, I want to see, like, with all these guys hurt, he should be the guy of like he was in Orlando, but he's just focusing so much on the defensive end. He just is having Jokic just run the show. It's not the worst idea, but I would like Aaron Gordon to be offensively more aggressive. He has offensive talent within him. If you want to spend down a little bit, Lonnie Walker does have forward eligibility as well, so we touched on him. How do you? Yeah, I guess if Dylan Brooks fails like seems like he's about to today, I think we'll get him at discounted ownership for sure.
I think we will as well. I'm looking forward to that. I'm very excited about that. I think that there's no question that that's kind of the game that you play. Is I like players relative to the way other people like players, but then also a 3-game slate is a lot different than a 13-game slate. And playing a 26% owned Dylan Brooks on a 13-game slate is a lot different than playing a 35% owned Dylan Brooks on a 3-game slate where the options are more limited around him. So I'm with you. You are sharp. It's almost like you're a top 10 player in NBA DFS on planet Earth. I think that is true. Let's head over to FanDuel. Here we go. LeBron James, 10-4 over there. Anthony Davis, 10K. Tobias Harris, Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren Jackson Jr., 6,200 at power forward there. Dylan Brooks, 6,100. Will Barton, more of a discount. The 6,800 on DK. Looks a lot better, 6K over on FanDuel. Jeff Green, that's just so inflated. Keldon Johnson, obviously, we'll see. He's doubtful, so probably not going to have him, but that just opens up a lot of minutes for Doug McDermott, 4,500. We talked about him a little bit there. Small forward for him over on DK, 4,200. I just like him on both sides. He's going to shoot a lot. Talk to me about forward on FanDuel.
Yeah, we touched on LeBron James on the DK side of things. LeBron has small forward, power forward eligibility here on FanDuel. 10-4, a spend-up option, but LeBron's a very, very nice player if he's going to play the way he did against Boston. 10-4, I think he'll be very low owned just because of the nature of the slate. I think people are not looking to pay up that much, and I think we will see not a stars and scrubs build just because of the lack of value that seems that's present out there, but people are just going to go for that quote-unquote balance build. If you want a balance build, Tobias Harris fits that mold along with Dylan Brooks, $77 and $6,100. I think the recency bias in Brooks seems like it'll affect us going into tomorrow. A pivot off of Brooks will be Barton. And I can't go to Jeff Green at 5,900. That's too expensive for Jeff Green. I love Jeff Green. Don't get me wrong. And I think the Brooklyn Nets will miss Jeff Green once they're in the playoffs. I think he was that ultimate glue guy for that team. Bojan Bogdanovic, a sharpshooter, can get hot from the outside against this Philly team. If Utah does decide to bench some guys on a back-to-back, keep that in mind. Talon Horton Tucker played well the last time out. I think they're finding their fit together. Remember, Anthony Davis started at the 5 last game. If that's going to happen, it does open up some minutes for some wing players like Talon Horton Tucker. Carmelo Anthony, sub 5K on a 3-game slate. Still really tough for me to go there. Not that much interest there. Rather go to McDermott with no Keldon Johnson. So small forward, power forward positions over there on FanDuel. It's not that exciting. It's kind of sucks. In a 3-game slate, usually you can find some options you'd have more interest in, but honestly, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anthony Simons isn't playing here tonight. I think we had talked about that here. I just am worried about how much Dennis Smith Jr. is going to exist in my life. But I wanted to read this off for you because, Ryan, I like to bring you good news when we're on these streams. Chris Boucher up to 21 fantasy points. Let's go. Just fire it off everywhere. Let's go. 98.6%. I have them.
Very rarely do I
100%.
lock in players on all 4 sites, but dang, it happened tonight.
Dang, it feels good to be a gangsta. How about that, Ryan? Let's go. You've got it covered, my guy. I'm way too white for this. I'm just terrible. I apologize to everybody involved. Sometimes, it's just like I just can't help it.
I would like another 21 points by the time the show is done, but let's keep going.
Not asking for much here. Let's round this out at forward. Yahoo, we've got Anthony Davis, $46 there. LeBron James, 43. Tobias Harris, 30, 28. Again, this is a 3-gamer, so I do want to talk a little bit about some of these guys at the bottom end. Jeff Green, $13. Looks a little appealing to me as somebody that you can maybe find some savings with. He's playing 30-plus minutes here for this Denver team still, alongside Aaron Gordon and alongside Jokic. He's finding ways to play tons of minutes. Royce O'Neal, $12. We know he can play a ton of minutes from time to time. I mean, 32, 37 the last 2 games. I mean, is he an intriguing fantasy option? No, but he's going to play 30-plus minutes. It's really hard not to like that. Obviously, there's really nobody else below it, barring any kind of injury news, that looks great to me. But I think even at $12, $13, both of those guys sound appealing on a 3-game slate. How about you?
Yeah, the forward position over there on your sponsor Yahoo is loaded. There's a lot of guys. They have significant interest. Spending up for Anthony Davis, you don't even need to convince me to do that. I'll be on above the field with that play for sure. LeBron James, like Tobias Harris's price tag at $30. I think that's kind of a pretty solid price point for him, and for the upside, the usage. He's obviously had COVID protocols that he had to deal with, and I think he's now back in full form. I think it works out for him pretty well now. I want to spend down a little bit. I think going to Bogdanovich can definitely pan out for you. I liked what Horton Tucker did last time. Maybe I'm going to be a victim of recency bias tomorrow with potentially playing him. If you want to spend down a little bit, you touched on Jeff Green and Denver on a back-to-back. Denver's so depleted. It's tough for me to see Mike Malone resting some guys on a back-to-back, but if for some reason someone is, Jeff Green might get some extra minutes, but I think Jeff Green's already in play just because it's a 3-game slate, and I think you're looking for some value over there on Yahoo. Jeff Green can fit that mold. He's only really works out over there. I didn't like that FanDuel price tag that we touched on. Another guy who's been getting minutes from Memphis, he's the min if you're looking for a guy who's a min salary, is John Contra. John Contra at $10. He, if you want to know how well he played in the Summer League, he was priced north of $9K in the Summer League over there on DraftKings pricing. So Contra, when given the minutes and usage, is a very strong fantasy contributor. Granted, it's a lot different when in the Summer League when you're the lead dog, and here he's not a lead dog, he's just a puppy.
What a great analogy, Ryan. Man after my own heart, ridiculous analogies. Let's get to the center position where there are some studs. And if you want to talk about 2 centers on this slate, here we go. If everybody's playing, and that's a big if, because you got a lot of big guys that are going to be on back-to-backs, specifically these 3. Nikola Jokic, 11.8 on DK. Joel Embiid, 11K. And Rudy Gobert, 8,400. Rudy Gobert, Hassan Whiteside was out today. I expect if Hassan Whiteside's out again, I'm going to project Rudy Gobert for 36, 38 minutes again. And he's going to be my highest roster dude again here in this spot. But there's no denying Jokic, Embiid, massive ceilings here at the center spot. Ryan, can you rank out these 3 for me?
Jokic, Embiid. Oh, boy. I love going. I mean, Jokic obviously 1, Embiid 2.
And then Gobert 3, even at 8,400.
I mean, you forgot a boy who has center eligibility in between.
Anthony Davis here. It's just a de facto part of this
10K.
show.
He's 10K.
Our boy Jakopotl's up to 6,400 too. That disappoints me. I don't like paying $400 more. I want him at 6K again.
Yeah, I think sites are aggressive. Okay, now there's a situation. Embiid is on a back-to-back. There's a chance we will see Embiid rest. And then it will become Andre Drummond across the board. He's $5,200 over there on DraftKings, and he's a pretty solid fantasy play. But keep in mind, the last time he started against Utah, he was not good. And there's been times where Doc Rivers has just not been playing the guy when he's been starting. So there is some downside to that. But keep in mind, I do think there's a chance Embiid will rest on the back-to-back if this game is like he only wants to play a certain minutes. But I think it's a possibility. Going down the list over here, we saw Dwight Howard shift to the bench. It's tough to go to that situation if we don't see him starting. I like Anthony Davis starting at the 5, but it is tough not to love Jokic just running the show, even at 11-8. You find a way to jam him in. There's a chance you just start off with 60 fantasy points and you just try to figure out the rest. I mean, starting off with 60 fantasy points for one player, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah, useful. Pretty useful. You could just roster Evan Mobley on days he plays too and get the same thing. Dude's up to 51. There's 9:30 left, but they're up 20 on the Bulls. I mean, they're just hammering the Bulls. This is absurd. I mean, I know DeRozan being out was going to affect them a little bit eventually here. DeRozan has just been unbelievable. He was player of the week, or I think he was actually player of the month in November for the Eastern Conference, wasn't he? Or was it just the week?
I'm not aware. It'd be tough for me to see him to win player of the month. I think Kevin Durant was playing amazing basketball.
Yeah, it would have been player of the week. Player of the week, just clarifying, I'm going to just amend my statement ahead of time there. And then immediately COVID protocols. Probably not ideal. All right, center position on FanDuel, Nikola Jokic.
There's an outbreak on that team, but yeah, they're going to be struggling for at least the next couple of weeks.
The Bulls?
Yeah, I mean, they're missing so many players.
Yeah.
They had to recall Stanley Johnson from the practice squad. So
Stan the man, though. Stan the man. Oh, man. Rostered that guy an egregious amount at 3K on Toronto. Those were fun days. They actually were terrible days because he never did anything. And then with Detroit, right? He was at Detroit too, and that was not ideal. Whatever. Center position on FanDuel, same thing. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert. You heard Ryan's ranking. I think that applies over here for FanDuel as well, no?
Looking down the list, remember, FanDuel, you can only roster one of these guys. You want to nail it. I do. I mean, Jokic 11K. It's the same ranking pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much for all your contributions there. It's same ranking. I really like paying up at center here, but if you're not going to pay up for center, I mean, if you have no Embiid, yeah, you play Drummond. Dwight Howard, I'm not going to play if he's not in the starting lineup. Just can't possibly see him playing enough minutes there. There is nobody down there, like legitimately. Nobody. Zeke Naji is forward/center eligible now.
Your lineup instantly becomes unique if you're going to roster like a Jaren Jackson Jr. at the center.
Or Steven Adams, I could roster maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think I'd rather spend the extra $500 for Jaren Jackson Jr. and get a more of a ceiling into the lineup. But even going to Jakob Poeltl, people are not going to roster him at that price tag, but he's going to be out there for the minutes to body up with against Jokic. And Jakob Poeltl has shown multiple times now, I mean, dating back to last year, of him just producing strong fantasy outcomes. And at 6,700, sure, you would love 40 plus, but if you get even low 30s, your lineup you'll get a lot of extra salary to spend elsewhere. And maybe those studs are the ones that go off and the centers have off nights. And little like pivots like that can change. Obviously, you're going to be sacrificing projection by quite a bit, but you might be able to gain a shit ton of uniqueness and upside based off that lineup.
All right, we're exactly 1 hour to go until the Clippers tip off. We still have no idea if Paul George is playing or not. Just thought I'd give you guys some insight because, again, we're going to be done here at the center position in 2 seconds. But Nikola Jokic, $54 sponsor Yahoo. Sorry, there was a buzz there. $54 on our sponsor site, Yahoo. Joel Embiid, $49. Gobert, $36. We've talked all about this situation. Poeltl there, $23 is interesting, but really, I do like Steven Adams at $18. Call me a fish. But you can play 2 centers. I don't mind mixing and matching, finding $18 for him there. You talk about upside. He's actually been playing, some games where he's had some massive upside, even in 20 minutes against Sacramento, 33 fantasy points. He's gotten over 20 in however many games in a row. Obviously, that's not intriguing at $18, but 43 fantasy points there against Miami in a 15-point win the other night. That's intriguing. A lot of bigs out here that are going to be out there, whether it's Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard. It's going to probably be a spot Steven Adams. So I'm going to project for 28, 30 minutes. Tell me what am I trying to say? Yahoo center, finish it out for me.
Yeah, Yahoo center spot you can spend up for Jokic. There are some enough min price players that we've touched on throughout all the positions. Embiid 49. I think I like saving those extra $5 here and going to Embiid over Jokic if Embiid were to play. And then you can save an additional 13 in Gobert. Gobert has been rock solid. And there's time and time again, if there is no backup center available for Rudy Gobert, Quinn Snyder has sprinkled some extra minutes over to him. Maybe Utah being a back-to-back, maybe Gobert usually tends to play everything, so I'm not too concerned about a Gobert back-to-back rest, but it could happen. And Jakob Poeltl here, $23. pretty solid price point. I have no issues going to Adams here either. Just helps other positions fit. Not really a 2-center slate on Yahoo, in my opinion. And I'm really curious if we'll see Thad Young get brushed off the bench over there in San Antonio. Man, there are a lot of things that I'm going to be interesting. What Greg Popovich does when and if Zach Collins ever will play a game for them. But Zach Collins is on the Spurs roster if people don't know that. And he will return at some point, and what that rotation will look like will be very interesting. Because if he's not playing Thad Young, he's definitely not going to play Zach Collins.
No, he's not. But you know what? We just saw Christian Wood's first basket here of the night. And they're up 15.
30. How much
they're up 15?
They're up 15 against the Nets?
Against Brooklyn.
Jeez.
Christian Wood just had his first 2 points of the game with like 4 minutes left or 4.5 left here.
They're really about
in
to
the second quarter. So weird. I don't understand basketball. Oh, actually, no, I really do understand basketball, but I don't understand the NBA sometimes because there's some randomness going on there. Why wouldn't Houston just get immediately better without Jalen Green on the floor?
Without him?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Green's been terrible this year.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad. Kevin Porter Jr. also out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christian Wood, obviously, they're very, very talented player. Just him starting at the 5 helped them out quite a bit.
All
and
right,
obviously playing OKC twice during the win streak obviously helps too.
Yeah, but they beat Charlotte and Chicago in the middle of it here too. So they've been an intriguing team here of late. Christian Wood playing some really good basketball, and Eric Gordon having to play Aaron Gordon 30 plus minutes a night. It's actually been good. 6 for 7 here tonight. Just absurd production. But I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Obviously, we were tuning into some of the stuff going on here tonight so we could make this thing go past 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Just, keep Ryan up a little bit later here, chat some NBA with him. But I know he and I both have some late slate lineups to go make, some late swaps to go do, which we don't even know what they're going to be yet because Paul George, no idea. But guys, any final words for the people, Ryan?
No, thanks so much for yet again tuning in to another episode of the Slate Starter. Please do leave a 5-star review, subscribe. We just want those ratings to keep going up. We want this podcast to keep going up the ranks as well. So all your support is greatly appreciated. I know all of you guys who tune in on a nightly basis have keep coming back. We love the comments and the support. And make sure to follow Eric at Eric Lindquist and give me a follow as well at Rinpack.
At Rinpack, super easy. Hey, he's Ryan. He's got a really nice vest. I'm Eric. I have a soft sweater. It's okay, but it's not as cool as that. We'll see you guys later.